We all know that the media is biased on both sides, but the problem is, of course, that the left actually controls the mainstream flow of information, and of course, they refuse to admit that they have bias in the first place. But what we're seeing today, of course, is Andrew Schulz reminding them about this bias in epic fashion. But before we begin, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe on this video so we can the algorithms. Here we go.
Should people trust the media in 2025?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Guess we're done here.
No, like you should trust the media to serve their audience what their audience wants. So for me, I would say no, don't trust them, or trust them to just feed their audience what they want.
That was a yes and a no. Is that what brilliant idiots means?
Yes. That's why people listen. Yes. So trust the media to lie to their audience to make them feel good.
All right. So
yes,
that's why I think it's broadly no, and that's why I go back to you should trust the media that earns your trust, because to Andrew's point, it's like everybody is serving their audience. You know what you're going to get when you tune into Fox News. You know what you're going to get when you tune into CNN. You know what you're going to get when you tune into MSNBC. And the reason voices like the Shapiros and the Favreaus have, grown is because
and broken through
is because they're hearing something that they don't normally hear on those legacy media outlets.
But that's an assumption. Just even saying, you know what you're going to get listening to here.
Black man talking.
Well, guess
but
what?
you just interrupted a woman.
Yeah.
Damn it, Charlamagne.
In this scenario,
I just got
you're the only
first.
one. There you go. There you go.
Sorry, continue, Stephanie.
That only continues that narrative that you know what you're going to get here, you know what you're going to get there. I challenge that. You don't.
Oh, that's not true. I know exactly what I'm going to get when I turn on Fox News. I know exactly what angle they're going to come with. If I turn on MSNBC, I know I'm getting a left angle. I know.
Are you shocked when you turn on MSNBC? Or are you like, oh my God, I didn't see this tape?
We're going
Then I invite you to watch my show any night of the week.
We're going to
watch your show.
And maybe you know where I'm going here. You sit down with Donald Trump.
Yes.
And you've been
basically a truthful person.
And you interview him. And I just want to preface this question by saying I've consumed every interview where you've talked about what it means for you to interview someone. And you're very clear about something. You're not asking dutiful questions. You're not asking something because you think you're supposed to. You're asking a question because you're following your curiosity.
Yes. Yeah.
You had a long conversation with him. And I went back and I listened to it. And I do want to push you on what you see as your responsibilities with an interview like that.
Yeah.
There's a section of the interview, and maybe you would have thought this was dutiful in the moment. I'm not so sure I'd agree. Where the president is describing the entire federal investigation into Russia as a hoax, made up by Hillary Clinton, these are made up by Nancy Pelosi. That's factual, that's not accurate. But then he goes further and he says that the Pulitzer Prize Committee should give the New York Times, should take back the Pulitzer it gave to the New York Times for its aggressive coverage of that investigation.
And the Post.
And you in the interview, you're nodding along to him, you're verbally agreeing with him.
Yeah.
And you say, to have the New York Times keep that Pulitzer is to basically say that the lie is true.
Oh, that's what they bought you here for. They bought you here to put you They need to see you face to face.
This is what you said. This is what you said.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Donald Trump, because you're actually, by
take back all the nice things I said, Lisa.
By leaving the Pulitzer with the New York Times, you're sort of saying it happened, and it didn't happen. And everybody now, he goes on, and you say, Andrew Schulz, this is the...
Oh, he said that part.
No, and you say you're rewarding the lie, and you're agreeing with him on, for the hoax. So now, in retrospect, maybe you think this is the best interview you've ever done, but I wonder if, in retrospect, perhaps you question whether in moments like that, you're not fulfilling what your friend and even your co-host Charlamagne thinks is pretty essential about the role of journalism in this moment.
Wait. Well, that was a big leap right there. What was the last question?
Are you letting the president lie on your show and not bothering to fact check him?
I don't know anything about the Russia hoax.
So why interview the president and let him talk about it?
And that's why Trump wants to go on this podcast.
I didn't ask him about
the
Russia hoax.
No, he brought it up every which way throughout the interview.
But I didn't ask him about the Russia hoax. I had three things I wanted to ask.
Turns out there's no hoax.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing that I would say.
I know you want to talk about immigration.
Michael, as one who's getting sued, as a member of the...
Can I just respond to it, David?
Just hang on one second.
Okay.
Just to be clarified, the Pulitzer was to the Post and the Times. It wasn't about the Russia hoax. It was about Russian interference in the election. Period.
Okay.
And it was a collection of terrific reporting.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you.
So this is a perfect example of the media class, which is like you guys, who know everything about the Russia hoax, you know everything about what it is. Was it actually, was it not? Like, if we relitigated every single thing, was it justified, et cetera? And then the rest of us, who I do not consider myself part of the journalist class, that just go, oh, so it didn't end up being real? Oh, I guess it was a hoax. And this is the separation of knowledge.
That's your position?
Yeah, I just said it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys are really aware of this because it's important to you. It's important if you're reporting on something that if there is truth to it. But what ended up happening? Did he get indicted? Did he get proven guilty of it? Like, what did happen with the hoax?
Just to be clear.
Not the hoax. What did happen with the Russia investigation?
David?
The Russia investigation is a federal inquiry into a sustained campaign by Russia to influence the 2016 election, according to U.S. intelligence agencies, on behalf of, in favor of Donald Trump. It's not an investigation. It's an investigation that also sought to understand contacts between Russian officials and Trump, and ultimately there's no evidence.
I'm not testing you. I'm just saying, what happened? What do you
think?
think?
There was a Mueller report, and there was no indictment.
Okay, so,
there was no
let's
indictment,
just take this right here. Let's stop right here. There was a Mueller report, and there was what?
No indictment.
No indictment.
Okay, what do you think the American people think when they hear there was no indictment? They're not looking into all this research. They're not saying like, ooh, there are real connections, but maybe not close enough to indict, but there is something real here. What do you think the average American thinks when they hear there was a Mueller report and there was no indictment? What do you think they think?
Clearly have an answer.
I'm asking you guys. What do you speak for your audience for a second? What do you think they think when they hear that?
David, correct me if I'm wrong. Richard Nixon wasn't indicted in Watergate, but Americans still look back on Watergate and think that was a scandal.
You're not answering the question.
I am.
No, you're answering it with a different one, and I think you're avoiding it because you know the truth. The truth of the matter is.
I don't think being willfully ignorant of what happened is a defense of knowing something. I'm sorry.
Look, I'm sorry I don't know every single thing before I interview the guy, and I see that I'm clearly being like I don't know, punished.
I'm going to come to Andrew's defense for a moment.
No. I think it's a. Listen, all criticism is fair. If you don't think that the question was asked in the right way or something like that, that's totally fair. We put things out on the internet. We put things out in the world. These criticisms are completely allowed. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
What I'm trying to tell you is there is definitely a separation between what you guys know and what the American people know.
That's true.
And when you only talk to other journalists, you guys are all aligned, left or right, about like what the facts of these things are. This whole conversation is, at least it was started by a distrust in media, right? And a lack of understanding of what's going on. Bring it back to the beginning.
Almighty.
And I think that, like, to what you were saying, right? The idea of what Americans think happened.
I agree.
There was an investigation and then no indictment. When I hear there's an investigation and then no indictment, it means there's nothing there.
And that is exactly why I like Andrew Schulz. I don't agree with him a lot on policy, but he's able to put his finger on what most average, everyday Americans are thinking, okay? But let's go ahead and go back to the beginning, because this whole conversation is about trust in the media. And Andrew Schulz actually says something that's very poignant. He says, trust the media to say what their audience wants to hear. And that's exactly it. In all cases, and of course, as a consumer of media, we simply have to be aware of that. I make no bones about my channel being conservative leaning. However, I am going to speak my mind, whether it's about the right or about the left. Most cases about the left, okay? But what's hilarious is that the left refuses to do that. And as we heard over there from Stephanie Ruhle, right? She says, oh, we're not biased. You don't know what you're going to get when you turn on MSNBC or MSNOW or whatever it's called, right? Really? Do you not, right? If you turn on CNN, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get biased reporting, where, of course, the only person on that entire network that has a brain is going to be Scott Jennings or one of the other conservative-leaning pundits, okay? But of course, that's my own bias showing now, isn't it? Okay? So yeah, she actually denies the fact that the network as a whole leans in one direction. And that, of course, is the problem with the legacy media. They refuse to acknowledge their bias. Okay, because if you have a network that comes out and says, guess what, we lean towards the left or we lean towards the right, then of course you can take into account what lens you're seeing the information through. But the problem is we have a vast swath in this country that doesn't understand that. So they think they're getting the true, unbiased, unfiltered news from all of these sources that we used to get way back in the day. But guess what? Even back then, it was all biased as well. They just hit it a lot better and weren't as extreme in their views. Okay, and that of course is the main point we're trying to make. Nowadays, You have completely extreme views being held and broadcast as if it's absolute truth, and it isn't. Case in point, we're talking about the Russian collusion hoax, right? And I will call it a hoax because if you'll notice, all the members on that panel, what didn't they bring up? They didn't bring up the report that Tulsi Gabbard released back in July, okay? Remember that whole report that said, yeah, all of the FBI officials, they knew that the Steele dossier, which was basically the catalyst for all of the investigations into Donald Trump for the following 4 years, they all knew it was garbage, but they went along with it because it was the narrative that President Barack Obama at the time wanted to push, right? But nobody mentioned any of that. Instead, they're saying, hey, Andrew Schulz, why were you so nice to Donald Trump? Why did you allow him to go off on the Steele dossier and say that all of these reporters that were supposedly reporting on the truth about the Russian collusion hoax, why didn't you push back on any of that? And of course, Andrew Schulz is just making the simple point. Hey, I'm just asking questions and having a conversation about things that interest me, okay? And if Donald Trump brings up a topic or a subject, then I'm just going to go ahead and listen and be part of that conversation, right? Because he doesn't have all of the knowledge, etc., about the whole Steele dossier, about the Russia collusion hoax, okay? And by the way, all of this frack reporting they're talking about, what did it all cover? Oh, it basically covered this, right? Here's the findings of the Mueller report. Who talked to who? Michael Flynn talked to an ambassador about sanctions and UN policy, okay? Paul Manafort talked to Konstantin Kilmanik, and of course, he was just a Russian intel officer. Roger Stone tried to leak information through WikiLeaks during the election. Trump Jr. met with some random lady who said they had information about the Clinton campaign, all right? This is what it was all about. But of course, what was Donald Trump's big crime? Oh, he tried to fire the people that were investigating him because in his view, it was all a bunch of garbage, as of course we all know now it was, according to the new information we got from Tulsi Gabbard. But of course, all of the pundits on this panel are going to say, hey, this was a crack reporting job done, right? And the Pulitzer Prize was won from that crack reporting job, not of course from the actual facts that were being reported on. So don't pay any attention to the facts that were found post-investigation, okay? But this is where Andrew Schulz really makes another excellent point. When you think about the average American people and you say, what was the result of the whole Mueller investigation? Oh, it resulted in no indictment. Okay, and then what do we think from that point on? Oh, Donald Trump, of course, not guilty, or at least didn't meet the standard of being prosecuted or whatever that happens to be. Okay, and of course, all of that is basically omitted by this panel as well. And that is something the panel definitely did not want to admit, right? Andrew Schulz asked the question over and over and over again. What do you think the American people think? When there's not an indictment after the investigation, what do you think the people are going to conclude? And that, of course, is the main thing that was being avoided by all of these legacy media people. So kudos to Andrew Schulz on doing a great job during this interview and holding these people's feet to the fire because, yes, they all got worked by a comedian who likes to talk to people. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.